of people will probably have already asked you this question, but I'm really interested in how the Spine Race, as kind of Britain's most brutal, most toughest race, compares to the Barkley Marathons, which is considered one of America's toughest races. I know they must be totally different, but is the mindset that you use to tackle both of them the same, or what comparisons and similarities are there?
Yeah, I mean, definitely very different challenges and unique experiences. The same mindset is definitely quite important of being able to push through all of the mental and physical obstacles. I would say that the best and simplest way I've thought of putting it is that the spine holds you to the fire for longer, but Barkley holds you much closer to the fire, and has less margin for error. That sense of urgency in Barkley is always there. Here in the spine, I periodically had competitors chasing me and challenging me. And Barkley, the cutoff is continually chasing you all the time. It's relentless. If you screw up, it will catch you. And you get pushed closer to the brink. But you're not there for nearly as long as you are in the spine. The conditions, the weather conditions, in general are worse at the spine. They can underfoot. Ian said this is the muddiest year he's ever seen, and that's pretty rough. But part of I guess what makes Barkley so challenging is its unpredictability, where you can have a night where it's freezing and sleeting, and then 12 hours later, it's close to 30 degrees and you're sweltering hot.
Yeah, I don't think you'd ever get sweltering hot on the Spine Race.
No, not this year. I didn't.
So it have you got any advice for others? Because there were one of my patrons, she was doing the Spine Race and her husband was doing the Spine Race. Her husband completed the Spine Race, but she had to drop out at 165 miles because she said she was falling asleep, and it was quite dangerous to be falling asleep in those conditions where she was. Do you have any advice for her if she wants to attempt it again? What would be like the biggest things that you could say to somebody training for their next Spine Race?
I mean, the single biggest thing that for me, since I started ultras, that someone told me early on is it doesn't always get worse. And the more that you gain experience in these sorts of things, the easier it is to convince yourself of that. But it's still something that you have to consciously remind yourself of when you hit those low points, that it's not going to get worse. I'm going to be able to push through this, and to just take it one step at a time. The next checkpoint, or even just the next mile or the next climb. It's just some increment along the course that's what you're aiming for. I just need to get to that next thing, and then once you get there, I need to get to the next. And with that perspective, it always seems manageable. Whereas if you hit a low point and you think about the fact that I've still got over 100 miles to go, that's rough. And I've been there. I remember being in my first 200 miler, and I was 90 miles into it and felt absolutely like death. And just thinking to myself, I feel this way, and I still have another 100 miler to go. Like, are you kidding me? But the more that you do that, the more that you remember that I can come back from this. And like I said, I had that low point at checkpoint 2 where I was half falling asleep, and I even told the people there, like, this is a low point. This is a very bad spot, but I'm going to be all right. And I left and kept going. So definitely never put yourself in a dangerous situation, but don't let yourself become convinced that you can't pull through something either.
That's really good advice. Yeah, break it down, and the only way is not down, it could be up again as well. And so I know you did mention it briefly before, but what do you think, having won the Spine race and broken the men's record, what do you think of Jasmine Paris's record, 83 hours and 12 minutes?
I mean, it's a phenomenal record. It's very difficult to talk about records on a race like this, where I mean the competition, the conditions, all of these factors play in, and really what you want out of a course record is where the right athlete encounters the right circumstances and has a great day. And that's what happened with Jasmine's record. She was the right athlete, and she had a great day with good competition that spurred her onto that record. So, if Jasmine and I had been racing each other, it would have certainly been exciting. Who knows what would have happened? Maybe the record would be lower by one of us. Maybe one or both of us would have pushed the other harder and wouldn't have finished. But who knows? All that can be said with certainty is she has the record, and she had a phenomenal performance to get it.
Fantastic. That would be an amazing race, wouldn't it? You and Eugenie and Ian and Jasmine all in the same race. Oh, it would be so good. Which begs the question, obviously, now that you've done our hardest race, the Spine race, what is next? Like another Spine race, a double Spine race, Dragon's Back, Cape Wrath Ultra, Bob Graham Round? Like what's next for you?
Well, I'm still got my eyes set on this kind of crazy Grand Round thing that I went for last year, where I tried to link Paddy Buckley, Bob Graham, and Charlie Ramsey, and do them consecutively and ride my bike in between them. I got through Bob Graham and was on my bike on the way to Scotland last year when I had to call it. And so I'd like to give that another go and see if I can come away with a completion on that.
Awesome and fantastic. Well, thank you so much for having a quick chat with us, John. It's really kind of you to come on the show.
Thank you. See you then.
Thanks, John. See you. Bye.
Bye.